Oh my goodness. Yo, what is going on, everybody? Straight from the plastic warehouse to this home to you guys live with the next podcast. That is what's going on tonight. Welcome, everybody in the chat. It is good to see you guys. Oh, shoot. I didn't even thumbs up a stream on my own channel. Let me do that real quick right now. And while I'm doing that, guys, if you don't mind, hit that thumbs up button. Let people know where you are right now. You are tuning in to the next podcast, season 4, episode 4, and we have some things to talk about today. I have been biting my tongue. I have been staying quiet when it comes to a certain situation. I've been letting everybody else out there share their complete thoughts and opinions, and tonight it is time for me to go in and let you guys know about what I think. But not only that, we do have a stellar panel here for you guys. You know what? Let me introduce these fools. Let's start all the way on the left side. So we're going to the West Coast here. My West Coast brother, the man that everybody tunes in to hear his gaming thoughts and opinions. Of course, it is Dark Optimus. What is up, bro?
That's simply not true, dude. We cannot falsely, put things out there on this podcast anymore. So, you need to retract that, sir. No. What's
no
up,
retractions.
Dude? You're like, no, we're not doing that.
No.
We don't do that on this podcast,
News.
but
It's fake news.
it's fake news. Oh, man, you can't say that.
Fake news lives on in all of us.
Does it?
In all
does
of us.
it?
Those
I
are
don't know.
alternate facts. I'm just saying.
Oh, well, that's your opinion.
Rico, what is up, brother? But yeah, no, Dark. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun show, man. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about the topics we have. And
For sure, man.
I gotta move on here. We're gonna go to the Lone Star State, and everything is bigger in Texas. What is up, Predator?
What's going on, man?
Not too much, man. You're in rare form tonight, brother. Already, like off air, you were going crazy.
Yeah, I've just been nice and quiet since the show started, and already hyping me up and trying to get me like in trouble with the fans out there.
Get you in
Dude,
trouble.
Calm down.
He lies, right, Brett? He lies like all the time, dude.
Damn. Am I getting called a liar by my own panel? This is
Fucking liar.
This is rich.
Liar.
This is rich. But guys, next on the list, we are coming all the way to the East Coast in my neck of the woods up here in New England. You guys might know him as a hardcore Gears head, but I will let you know he plays everything from the Untitled Goose Game to golf as well. Yo, Crispy Bomb, what is up, brother?
What's going on, everybody? What is up, chat? Yes, we are back for another next podcast. Let's do it.
Nice. And again, shout out to the chat, guys. You know what to do. Share the stream out. Let people know that we are live right now. I could not do my typical kind of like getting people pumped up the day of. I was at work. I did a 12-hour shift. It was a crazy day. It was really, really a crazy day. But shout out to the people who know that this show comes on Thursdays now at 8 p.m. as well. Shout out to all the supporters out there. You guys might be wondering, we might be missing somebody here, and that is right. We need an all points bulletin, an APB one more time for our brother K Mega. I'm looking, and there was no doorbell or anything like that. I'm not sure if he realizes there is a show going on. So if you are following him on Twitter, send a tweet out. Let him know. Tag him. Say, dude, what's going on? You're supposed to be in the next podcast right now. You better move. You better get in there, man. You better get in there. But we have to get into our first topic. And of course, I'm not going to just dive into the Xbox Live Gold fiasco. We got to let people kind of get in here. We got to let things kind of like stew a little bit before we get into that.
Let it marinate a little bit.
Little marination. Is that how you say it? Is it marination?
Oh,
When you
wow.
say it, you just make it sound gross, dude.
You gotta say it nice and slow.
Yeah, like Fred, you know.
Oh wow. Yo, shout out to my brother Sir X-Man for hitting up the super chat. Yes, people, the super chat does indeed work. Xbot, I'll bring a life preserver for you for our next golf game. I heard you might need one, buddy. Water hazard. Yo, brother, I've gotten better. I've gotten better. For people who don't know, I am in a little bit of a rut when it comes to the golf game, but I want to talk about a new game that came out today. A game called The Medium. And for people who don't know, The Medium is out on the Series X, the Series S, and I believe PC as well. So Xbox One users can't play it until they get a new generation console. Not only that, it came out day and date in Game Pass, and it's a game that I am planning on streaming after this show. You got to give me a little time to set up the overlay and all that good stuff, but I am planning on streaming this tonight. To me, it looks really cool. Psychological thriller. Two kind of like scenarios running at the same time. Anybody here get a chance to play this yet?
Nay.
No.
I don't have the console for it, so yeah.
All right, so that's
Yeah.
2 strikes. And Dark, do you have a series?
No. I was gonna play it on PC, but I was like, I don't really feel like doing that.
I'm just not interested in horror games like that. Like this, it's never been my genre choice. I mean,
I'm sure if Mega was here, he would have had something to say about
Damn it,
it.
Mega, get your ass in here, man. We need to talk about this.
See, you started too soon with that one. That's what happened.
Dude,
It's
well,
true, man.
I kind of kept the Knights of the Old Republic behind because I know Mega would definitely want to talk about that. All right, well, how about the reviews, guys? Predator, have you seen what is going on in terms of the reviews of this game and certain particulars when it comes to performance? Have you looked into this at all?
I did read that part of it, and I think initially when the reviews first started coming out, the first guy gave I always look at the negative reviews just because I want to see why. Like if it's like a big disparity on what everybody else is putting out, why they made that choice. Like the Forza one a couple of years ago, like the guy was like, I don't really like racers. I'm like, well, why the fuck are you reviewing it?
Yeah.
So like with this guy, and I forgot who he was and where he worked for. It was the first one that came out. It was a 30, and his biggest issue was they didn't use I guess the setting is like in Europe or something like that, and they use American actors in the game. That was his first knock on it, and then the second one was it didn't scare him enough. And I was like, well, if that's all, but like, was that worth a 30 though? I mean, like maybe a 60, but a 30 is kind of harsh for something that just because you didn't get scared enough and you didn't like the fact that they use U.S.
The 30 is borderline. The game's unplayable.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, man, that's like a broken game. But he really didn't really talk about too much of the gameplay mechanics, very much in his review. It just didn't seem like he just like I just didn't like the game, and that's fine. Everyone's like I like it, but a 30, like that's a bit much. Like 70, 60 maybe, I would have taken that, but like, so you gotta kind of read the context of it. Like, there was another one that came was a 40. I didn't really read into that one too. But there's always that one outlier score that brings it down. It seems like the game has been kind of hit or miss with people. Some people gave it like high marks, like in high 80s, and some people gave it like low 70s. So it's one of those like if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't type shit. It isn't. But I think most of the reviewers were honest on their assessment of the game, except for those two weirdos that dropped it like a 30 or 40. So,
well, shout out to Fox Mulder real quick in the chat. First off, he said, "Xbot, what up? What is up, Fox? Good to see you, bro." He said IGN gave it an 8 for great. So the reviews have been all over the place then.
Yeah, basically that's what it is. Like that's what So, and I forgot who posted this. It was another guy. I think the guy from Four Guys Recorders. I'm not sure. Um, and he's like, do you trust Metacritic, reviews? And I'm like, who does? Like you always. My thing against Metacritic is like, let's say a game like this, it only has 30 something reviewers at the time, right? When I saw it, like that's it. That's the most you're gonna see, maybe 45. But then the game like Halo will have 132 reviewers, and it's because it's a bigger game, obviously. But you never get the same reviewers. You never get the same amount of reviewers. So like that 30 is gonna hurt a lot more with only 45 reviews versus a 30 with 120 reviews. You know what I'm saying? Like the metrics are there, and it's like I've never, I didn't really start thinking about it until he asked that question. I was like, I wonder how many people actually reviewed this game. And like a game like Hitman had like 80. I posted this too, like 80 something reviewers, and it got an 80. This game only had like 45 to 55 reviewers, and it got like a 73 ish or what I think it was. But like the more reviewers, it's like grading on a curve, like the more people you get in there, the better the score, the choice, the better the chance of you having a higher score in the game is. But like if
Yeah, it's a
only,
higher multiplier, man.
yeah, if there's only 25 people reviewing it, and like you got a couple of hundreds, a couple of 80s, and then one dickhead comes out there and he puts like a fucking 44 on it, then that makes it drop way down. So the law averages, and someone told me like, oh well, these smaller companies that review games every now and then don't have that much weight when it comes to Metacritic. I don't know if it's a one for one type deal or, or like some small little gaming company from Idaho. If they're 50 counts worse, you know what I'm saying? It's like like someone like IGN score will rate higher than someone from like that Iowa place, whatever. So I don't know if that's the true case or not, but a 40 hurts, a 30 hurts if when it comes to that. It doesn't matter what the game is, but I always read those negative reviews first. So I saw some stuff about, like some it's like some glitches, some graphical stuff like that. That stuff's always fixable. I mean, I hate to say it, but in our generation, launch games are always fucked up. It's just a part of it. It's part of it now.
Yeah,
So,
dude, are we gonna like get past that where games will actually come out and not be broken?
no, I don't think so. It's the way they make games now. There's so much into them. They're always going to find something wrong with it, and that's why like you're always going to have something like. But it's one thing if they fix it. It's another thing if they just say, "Oh, fuck it," like a game breaking bug they're gonna fix. But like, okay, this game drops frame rates in this corner, in this corner of the desert, where no one should be going anyway, and it drops second. Yeah, then that's I don't give a shit about that kind of stuff. But if it's like something like this consistent, and like it's just consistently bad, it's just always dropping frames. Like that's where you should be concerned. Like who gives a shit? I mean, Digital Foundry does this all the time. They can't always repeat some of the issues, and sometimes they can. But like we never know if that's going to be fixed because guess what? Who notices that? Nobody. Like when you're playing most of the time, you don't see that frame or those 4 frames drop in that corner during this huge ass firefight. You're too busy trying to kill people. So like we don't really notice that until someone else shows it to us, and like this is something that's happened this generation. So
Dude,
I don't.
our our
Go ahead.
our our buddies here, Christopher Hart and Albert G, are going in already in the chat. They just like woke up out of nowhere when we started talking about the media. Man, this is crazy.
Yeah, well, fuck them. So like I just don't. I mean, I'm one like I look at the scores. I look and see like how fucked up they are, and if it's like kind of a consensus, like if it's like multiple, especially the major ones, like you look at IGN and GameSpot and stuff like that, if they're consistently saying something's wrong with it, I'll probably hold a little bit more weight to the game being fucked up. But if they're giving it 8s and 9s, and some little fuckboy from Nova Scotia gives it a fucking 30, I'm gonna be like, this guy's an idiot.
Yo,
So
shout
I'm
out to
saying,
Nova Scotia, by the way. We are
first time
not
that's probably been
hating.
named.
We're
First
not
time that's
hating
probably
on
been
Nova
said here on
Scotia.
the podcast. I said I didn't call Nova Scotia a fuckboy country. I said
Okay.
a fuckboy from Nova Scotia. Reading is fundamental. So like I don't really hold a lot of weight to those little smaller scores unless like like I said, in this guy's case, it was more personal. Like he wasn't scared enough. Well, sorry. I mean, maybe you like being scared, but some people might have actually gotten scared through the game. But I've never played it. I don't know. I can't give it a score. But it is what it is. The game is what it is, and I mean, it'll be okay. It looks pretty good, but I mean, I'm not a horror guy, so like, I'll be passing on this one.
I got you, brother. Yo, shout out to Jose Molina hitting up that super chat. Thank you, brother, for the support. Definitely appreciate it. He says, hi, see so many reviews where they give the medium low score due to the lack of action or shooting. Like if all games need to be action based, or like if we were scoring them down because they take us out from our comfort zone. You know what, Jose? That is a great point. When it comes down to it, not every single game has to be like severely action packed or anything like that to be a quality game. And I am in that same boat with you. Yo, shout out to you for that super chat, man. That is awesome, bro. Yo, Crispy, did you get in on the reviews for the medium? And if so, what do you think, bro?
Everybody has an opinion, and that's pretty simple.
Everybody has an asshole too.
Exactly. There you go. And it also spews out shit, right? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So the problem I have is that even Xbox centric, sites or reviewers are saying that they didn't like the gameplay more than anything. Most of them said that the visuals were actually really good. I'm a little confused on the narrative type thing because, I mean, we've seen a lot of games that PlayStation has that not necessarily blown out of the water, but gotten decent scores with games that are very like narrative based, like have very little gameplay, like compared to most games. I'm a little confused on that and why because Xbox has an exclusive, we have a problem with this. Now from the Xbox people, I've seen a few low scores from Xbox centric sites. So, and really they said exactly what I would probably say. The gameplay, like we're really about the gameplay more than anything. Like we want to play a game, and I feel like a lot of people are saying that, the story wasn't right for it or something like that. I question some of these reviewers because some of the ones that I feel like played the actual whole game, and that goes across the board from Xbox to even like, guys that might love PlayStation or something like that. They gave it a decent score, at least an 80, because they played through the whole game and they enjoyed their experience. And that's where we go and say it's subjective. Like it's really like, am I going to enjoy the game? Probably not. But is my girlfriend going to enjoy the game? Probably. Okay, so this is the beauty of Game Pass. This is why it's there, but it's also pushing that brand spanking new Series S Xbox got, okay, and saying, hey, let's see how beautiful this could look. So he's probably like chomping at the bit right now because he's the hard working man. He's working 12-hour shifts, bro. Like, come on. Like, give the guy a break.
I'm even
here.
working on Sunday. Sunday's my day off, but I'm gonna get a 10-hour time and a half on the whole 10-hour on Sunday. So
you got to get that money, bro. Like that's the point. But that's what I'm saying. Like it's all objective. Like I see the reviews so distant, but yet they don't trash the fact that games have had glitches and this and that. The frames per second thing that Pred brought up. I mean, whatever, but I'm not hearing people trashing this game because it has technical problems. It's because of certain aspects. So, I mean, in the end, the Metacritic is the Metacritic, but it's so distant. There's so many like really low scores, and there's so many like decently high to like upper echelon scores. And it's just like, go play the game. Like it's on Game Pass. Just go play it.
That's actually, that is awesome that you say that, man, because like with it being on Game Pass, if you have an Xbox, more, it's more likely you have Game Pass, or there's a deal if you've never had Game Pass. Go check it out and see for yourself, because as you and Predator kind of like alluded to, the scores are kind of all over the place. Like, I don't know what anybody plans to get out of that. If they look at the average at the end, at the end of it all, or whatnot. But when you see so many that, you get so many low scores, but then so many high scores as well. Like, what is a gamer really supposed to make out of that? Like, what does that tell you?
That's why I analyze the fact that like they're not like the game like is pretty sound technically, and with Blair Witch, Bloober actually had a lot of issues with glitches and stuff. So I mean, from what I see, at least from the reviews, that they've cleaned that up. And you got to think that it's only on next gen consoles. I think that's pretty impressive for them. They're a small studio. I think that should be somebody that Microsoft should take in their wing and really give them the budget and the clout and everything else to do something with it and make a horror, because I seen a lot that weren't like great scores, but they said this horror game it could be supernatural horror. I mean, that's the point. Like, what do you consider horror? Like, is it supernatural? Is it just straight like jump scares? Like, what do you consider horror? So, like, even Hellblade, like it messed with my head, and I consider that horrific as a human being. Like, it really messed with my head. So, what do you consider? And that's the point where I say it's objective. It's what you feel.
Okay, I got you, brother. I got you. Let's get Dark in on this. Like, it's always interesting to talk review scores with the Angry Otter. So, Dark, what do you think about the medium and kind of like how these gaming sites are rating it and stuff like that? Like, what are your thoughts here, bro?
I mean, for me personally, like some of those reviews was all like, okay, whatever, like some of them was like, you guys
Uh-oh.
just trying to do some clickbait shit here. Some of the other ones, well, shout out to Italian Clowns, because he said he played it in that, because he said something on Twitter about playing it, and he said it's like a don't nod type of game, and I was all like, dude, you had me at don't, like I'm already in, like because I love those type of games, so I'm still interested in playing it. I'm waiting until I get a Series X to play it. I was gonna play it on PC, but I was like, I don't really feel like doing that, to be honest. Like, I'm just so comfortable with playing on console that I don't know. It's just hard for me to go and play something on PC. So I'll definitely wait until then. But like some of these reviews, man, I'm just like, ugh, okay, here we go again. Like with some of the kind of bullshit kind of reviews. I mean, some of them were good. I mean, IGN had a good review. I mean, I read the entire review. They definitely liked the game. To the extent to where they could say that it was an 8. And that was kind of, that one actually kind of surprised me, because I was like, dang, like they don't usually give games like that kind of like that high of a score. So it was kind of nice to see them kind of play that game and actually enjoy it. Also, GameSpot was like, oh, okay, they gave it a 9. I was like, oh shit, all right, well, I was like, dang, they really enjoyed it. So I mean, it's kind of all over the place. I mean, Game Informer gave it like a 6.75. I was like, geez, like, was it that bad for you? Like, they must have had, I don't know, maybe some people are playing it on PC, some people are playing it on the Series X, or I don't know. I think the Game Informer one was PC, but I'm not sure on that one. But I think GameSpot and IGN played it on the Series X. So I'm guessing they probably had a much better time. If this game feels like something that you would play during Halloween anyways. I don't understand why it came out like, in the tail of January. Like, I feel like this game should have launched with the console, like
Oh yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on that or something, but I think this game should have launched with the console for
Oh
sure.
yeah, it would have been something there for people who invested on the console that would, only be on the console. That like I
Right,
can
exactly.
definitely see that. Yo, shout out to Jose Molina real quick. Yo, Jose, I did not know this, but he tunes in live from Guatemala. Yo, shout out to you, brother. Shout out to Guatemala. He says he lives
Yeah.
in Guatemala where the Series S is $600. Game Pass has been an awesome deal for some gamers. Unfortunately, Xbox is not that popular in Latin America. I thought it was supposed to be popular, South America, Mexico,
Brazil and Mexico more than the other countries, yeah. But like Guatemala, I don't think it's as popular. Brazil and Mexico are kind of the more top ones that play on Xbox.
All right, I got you, yo. Real quick, I gotta shout out our brother Sir X Man hitting that super chat one more time. He says, "Here's the truth with us on Xbox Live. If we want to know how good a game is, all we gotta do is ask our friends on Xbox, and tell me that isn't true, brother. You are correct on that, man. You kind of go in and you look and see who's played the game." You get them into a party and you're like, yo, what do you think so far? What's going on, man? Is it something I should get into? Or if you have Game Pass, you could just download it and play it for yourself as well. But I definitely see where you're coming from, Sir X Man. Definitely see that. Now, Dark, I gotta ask you, and I'm gonna, I ended with you on that one, so I'm gonna bring this part B or section 2 of the topic to you, and then I'm going to bring it to the rest of the panel. It seems, and Christopher Hart's going to like this because he's been talking about, which is funny. Yo, Chris, don't you realize that your precious PlayStation 5 has lower resolutions on, like, the majority of multiplats in comparison to the Series X, but you're now talking like resolution is broken and stuff like that. But here we go. The medium supposedly on the Series X is 900p at 30 frames per second, which when you hear those numbers, it's kind of, at first it seems a little shocking. You have like the Series X, the world's most powerful console. We all know that. And we did get a doorbell ring. Let's see what's going on here. He has made it, yo. Everybody in the chat, say what up to our brother, K Mega.
The hell is going on here, man? Why we so late?
Why are we so?
Why you so late?
Why you so
We
late?
talking about?
What the hell is going on here, man?
Yo, what up, K Mega?
What's up, y'all? What's going on, man?
Chilling, brother. We were just talking about the medium, and first we were talking about the review scores, and then I was getting into the whole kind of like resolution, frames per second thing. So, Dark, you're gonna have to put your thoughts on pause with that, but let them marinate, really soak them in, and kind of get a good idea of what you're gonna say, because I want to hear,
Yeah, man.
K Mega. When it comes to the reviews of the medium, Predator, Crispy, and even Dark said they've kind of been all over the place. What is your reaction? What are your thoughts on what's going on with big gaming media and them kind of like reviewing this game and giving it scores, bro?
I don't know. I haven't seen any scores. I take that back. I have seen a score of the last time I seen was yesterday. Was, I don't know, a 72, 74, something like that. It's a 71 right now. The only thing that I watched anything about was the Digital Foundry video, and I watched that last night. Just just because sometimes I don't watch all their stuff, and sometimes I just might catch a wild hair and just want to just check it out. But from what I got from his video is just how impressed he was about the situation that was going on. Now, he did talk about that there was some dips here, dips there on both the S and the X, but he was like the difficulty of what they're doing with the split screen aspect of it. And then he did this duplicate frame rate or duplicate, whatever the thing it was he did, but he talked about. But other than that, he said that it was an experience. He talked good about the music aspect of it, because there's two different types of music. One that's doing from the other world or whatever was made by the guy who done Silent Hill. So like it was a lot of praise, and he said that the game was beautiful at this, and then on the Series X, you can see the ray tracing on the Series S. It was this and that. Also talked about the I guess the negatives, which would, if it went down to 900p on the Series X, and then it went down or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, hold on. It's not just like 900p, because like I've been seeing people talk about 900p 30 frames per second. So it drops down to 900.
It drops down to 900p. No, it didn't say that the game was all 900p. It said something about like it dropped down to 900p in certain points, and then on the S, I forgot what the lowest resolution was on that. Yeah, 648. That's exactly right. So that's the thing for me is this. It's a game
what was the native resolution to begin with then? If it dropped down to 900, is it 1080?
For the S, yes, it was 1080, and it's 4K for the 4K for the, I think it was, he said 1220 or something like that. For the Series X, something like that. But again, how I look at it is just how I always say this: play the game for yourself and experience yourself. Never let other people dictate how you want to play a game or what you think about that game. That's what the biggest problem I think that's come out even kind of like in the middle part of the generation last gen, it's kind of just festered into this ridiculous notion that writers and content creators can dictate the whole situation of how people play games. If there's anything that's more different, it's movies and games. I can tell you right now, I see a lot of people talk about how they didn't like the Star Wars movie, what was it, the Return of the Jedi? Not the Return of the Jedi, I forgot what it's called. The Last Jedi. Me and my wife enjoyed it. There was parts of it that I was like, I see where people didn't like it at that point. But then when it got to another part, which was to me towards the middle end, I really enjoyed it. And so, but people, it's worse. It's the worst thing ever. The canon, blah, blah, blah. People have different types of level of entertainment value of what they want, what they like. I watch movies to be entertained. If they change the lore or the canon of some sort, yeah, I get it. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to get as many people in the seats. And I look at it the same way with just games. It's like certain people, if they have a direction of what they want to do with gaming, or a certain type of game, they would love to hit, 10, 15 million, people sold, games sold, or, everybody talks about that game and it be up a nomination. But really, in all retrospect, it's more about getting people to enjoy the game and have a following to where they can have enough, where they can sustain enough to where they can have a sequel with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it's all about. And that's how I look at it when I play games. It doesn't matter if it's old or new. If it's something that I enjoy, I'm going to continue to play it. With the Metacritic score stuff, it's kind of like, well, if this game doesn't hit this type of score that somebody else is telling you how they feel about it, it shouldn't dictate that particular gamer's thought process of wanting to try it out at least. It seems like there's people that don't even try out these games when there's a game that doesn't hit a certain threshold. And I think that's really disgusting. But overall, I think that the game is going to have mixed opinions because that's just how this game seems to present itself. It's not going to be loved by everybody. It's not going to be hated by everybody.
Yo, now real quick, Mega, when we were talking about the scores again, Predator, he was first on this topic, but then Crispy chimed in, Dark, and they were talking about how the scores were all over the place. One kind of like gaming news website or whatnot gave it a 30, while IGN gave it an 8. I think there was a 9 in there as well, and everything in between. I gotta ask you, Mega, what are people supposed to get when you have these reviews and you get everything from the very bottom to the very top, like, and then everything in the middle? Does that say anything to the gamer out there at all? When you get all those different numbers and you don't really see, anything like gravitating towards one side or the other.
Well, that's I mean, no, that's why I say, it shouldn't matter what somebody else thinks about a game if you're interested in playing it. It just doesn't matter. We're now starting to see where, and it just didn't even make sense. I seen the PS Jordan. She posted something where on PC it was when it first came out, it was like a 76 or something like that, and then on Xbox it was a 74 or 73. Now, how is that even possible? You see what I'm saying? Like, I mean, how does that even make sense? It's the same game.
2 points, like
yeah. Like, I mean, okay, it's not like how where people were saying, well, the PC can give you more of this, well, it'll have HDR. This game doesn't. No, if you got a Series X, you can see the ray tracers, you can have the HDR, you can have all those aspects if you have the right television. So it's same with the monitor. So it's like, what is so different of where people are looking at a game from the PC realm as it being better than the Xbox? And the only thing that I can only come to the conclusion of is that there's just bias. There is just bias. And that's why I keep telling people, stop putting so much weight behind Metacritic and just play the damn game. Of course, read reviews. Yeah, if people take the time out to want to talk about the game instead of the saying like 5 words, this 3 to 5 words, oh, this game is trash, don't buy. Other than that, when people put in thorough reviews or whatever, or of what their experience is with the game, I read those, and I'll read about maybe 20, 30 of them just to make sure that trying to get a barometer of how far this of where people's thought process about this game is. But for just going off of just these, just a score, 5, if it's 5 out of 10 or if it's 8 out of 10, it just doesn't make any sense. And you have to feel sorry for the gamers who actually pay attention to a lot of people out here that are all about the fuckery. You know what I'm saying? The only reason why they will talk bad about a certain game is only because it fits their narrative. And there's a lot of people that do, because they feel that these other people are being genuine, even though they may feel, oh, they clown every time. But I agree with their thought process about these video games, and that to me that's what's going to hurt smaller titles and the AA titles that people have been asking for and want in the future going ahead. Because if these type of games come out, then what they're going to be called, Game Pass filler, or just trash, hand-me-down games, and really they could be actual gems that people could love and want it. I mean, that's why I think that the system just needs to go away or get rehauled in one way or another. And reviewers have to do this. My last point is something I've said before. If they love that type of genre, then they should be able to review those games. But you cannot have a person that only plays, JRPGs, and then they want to talk about a sports game, or they need to review a sports game. They're not going to like that sports game, so their review is going to be a lot harsher. There have to be a lot more people to review certain games that love that type of genre, that I feel that people can trust. Until that changes, it ain't gonna make any sense whatsoever.
All right, I got you, brother. And that's something I believe Predator touched on as well. It's good to have you in with us live, bro. I am gonna go back to Dark, and I'm gonna ask him about the performance here. Now, we heard Dark from K Mega, and a couple people in the chat as well. This whole 900p 30 frames per second deal, it's not the native resolution there. It's actually 1440, right? What do you think about people making a big deal out of this? We do know, like, there's basically two scenes being rendered at the same time. Even when you're not seeing one scene, the other scene is still kind of like, being processed or whatnot. What do you think about people chiming in on the whole 900p 30 frames per second deal here?
I think it wouldn't have been a big deal if Xbox One didn't come out as being 900p most of the time on their games. So, like, I think right now it's kind of a big deal because everybody's like touting that it's everybody, not just us, but people on Twitter, people on frickin', people everywhere touting that Xbox is the most powerful Xbox Series X is the most powerful console. Like, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal if Xbox didn't come out and start saying that shit. Like, if Xbox just kept their mouth shut and didn't say anything like that, and they just they didn't run with that power narrative, I don't think this would have been that big of a deal. I think that it still would have been a pretty big deal, but it wouldn't have been. It's blown out of proportion to the point to where I think people are just using it as their own narrative. You know what I'm saying? So they just continue to shit on anything that looks, that's below 1080p, or well, actually now it's anything that's below 4K. But it's like the game, if the whole game was at 900p, I'd probably be upset about that, but the whole game's not at 900p, so it's only, it dips down to that. But at those moments, are you really going to notice that? That's the real question. Are you really going to notice when it dips down? I think when you're playing a game, I sure as hell don't notice that stuff. I'm not sitting there, being like, oh yeah, that dipped down. This went there and this did that. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm playing the game. I'm trying to get to the next level or whatever. So I think and then also frames, like, I'm gonna say, like I said with Hitman 3, I loved Hitman 3, and I got it on PlayStation, and it wasn't the best version of the game. Yes, okay, yeah, but I don't care about that. I'm enjoying the game. That's all I care about, is that I'm enjoying it. I don't give two shits about freaking resolution or frames per second. When I started getting into the resolution and frames per second was when I started doing podcasts. That's when it really became prevalent to me, like, oh, resolution and frames per second and all that shit. None of that mattered to me when I wasn't doing podcasts, man. Like, and it still doesn't matter to me now, but it's just so weird that these guys are sitting there and they say, oh, well resolution and frames per second matter. And why does that shit matter? If the game plays good and you're enjoying it, like, who gives a shit? At that point, I'll never understand that. And maybe that makes me kind of a a quote unquote, I guess, I don't know what you would call that, but it's just I don't really care, man, to be honest. To be completely honest, I don't care.
All right, brother. Let's let's go to Crispy on this. Crispy, people are running with the whole narrative of 900p, 30 frames per second. What is your thought process on that whole deal, bro?
Well, I personally think they're dropping resolution to continue the frames per second, especially with 2 worlds involved. It's pretty incredible what they're trying to do. I have watched streams of it, and it's a little wild to think that such a small team is capable of this. And like I said, like Microsoft, you want an easy, quick purchase. Like, let's go here, like because I feel like we're getting to the realm where like all these big companies are going to come in and start buying up like even smaller studios that just have great technology or great minds inside the studios. And it's a little wild that they did this. Like you said, 1440p is the native. The problem I have is on the other side you have nobody saying nothing about the resolution when they're touting frames per second. Drives me a little nuts, to be honest. Personally, at this point in my gaming career, as I like to call it, my gaming life, it's frames per second. That matters more than anything, especially when it's gameplay involved. It makes it more immersive. If you don't have the TV, you don't have anything else, you don't care about resolution. I mean, if your TV is capable of 60 FPS, if the medium could run at 900p with 60 FPS, I guarantee the people that don't have a great TV like some of us do, they might be like, "This is amazing." You know what I mean? And then they're still involving ray tracing and everything else. I don't know. Like, I feel like it's kind of not I feel like they forced it out a little bit, but for nobody to be saying like they have super technical issues or glitches or anything like that, I don't know. Like, it's a story-driven game. That's the whole point of it. Like, it's story-driven. Like, for me, being an Xbox gamer, not really my bag. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of other people's, and you can get it on Game Pass. So why not try it?
Nice. Great point. Again, great point. People, when it comes to this game coming out in Game Pass day and date, I mean, you have a wide variety of reviews and review scores. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Some people are like, it's okay. The best thing to do is try it out for yourself. And, if you don't have Game Pass, I'm pretty sure there's a deal out there where you can get it incredibly cheap for your first month or whatnot to give it a try. You know what I'm saying? But Predator, what do you think about this whole resolution FPS deal? Like, people on social media really got me. I thought the native resolution was just 900p, and I was like, if they're running 2 scenes at once, and I was like, there could be some issues there where they had to drop the resolution or whatnot. But as we heard from K Mega in the chat, 1440p. Dude, what are your thoughts on this narrative being kind of like thrown out there on social media, dude?
I just realized while you guys were talking, I figured out what the problem is. All right, when it comes to resolution and games, all games, I figured it out. Y'all have never lived through the generation of bootleg movies. That's what it is. Like,
oh, I used to have a bunch of those, man.
Oh yes, you're right about that.
Yeah,
you did not give a fuck about how it looked. You're just happy to have that movie for $5 and not
so true.
Like, you guys have not lived through that generation. Like, you got everything right now. It comes straight to Netflix. It goes straight to, at 4K with these nice ass screens and shit. Like, you guys have never had to deal with that shit in this generation. Y'all younger kids. Like, K Mega knows what I'm talking about. Some of you guys in the chat.
I know what you're talking about.
I know what you're talking about too, man.
Hey, like 1.2, Fred. I mean, I said Fred. Fred is that
Fred.
Okay, like my wife, she loves that show Friends, right?
Mhm.
Okay, when they show those old episodes that before HDR, you know what I'm saying? You just had just regular, you know what I'm saying? They had to just put it in the box. That's the shit that we've had to deal with. You're absolutely right, man. Yeah.
I want everybody to go, and I want you to go to your YouTube channel. I want you to hit that little sprocket, right? And I want you to hit the resolution the quality button, and I want you to drop that shit down to 240 and holler at me. And that's what we used to watch bootleg movies at. And so like in some cases worse. Like you had like blurred out Chinese lettering at the bottom and shit. So like you guys have never lived through that generation. So like I mean like that's where I get like we want the best. We want them to put the time and the money in. But like to us, sometimes like some of that shit just doesn't matter to us because we know what we had to go through watching some of the movies we watched and some of the shit we had to see. Like even like you were saying, like Friends and stuff like that, watching those old TV shows, you had the black bars on the side because you couldn't stretch the screen out. Like
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I mean, so when I see like a shitty looking game, like it has a fucked up resolution, I just chalk it up to okay, the cameraman was fucking up. Like I just move on to whatever. I just keep going through it. But like, I mean, like I think Dark said it. Like we didn't pay attention to this shit years ago, like last gen. Even the gen before that, we didn't start thinking about this shit till social media became a thing. Like we didn't care about resolution. We didn't care about frames. We didn't care about that kind of shit. We just wanted to play the game and have fun playing the game. And and maybe that's like thinking 10 years back, but that's how it was 10 years ago. We just wanted a game. Like there were games like Ninja Gaiden, like looking back and playing that now, like that the original Nintendo Ninja Gaiden way back in the day. Frames dropped like a crazy on that game, but I still played it. Contra, like when you kill an enemy, like those frames are just like going all over the place. But like as I look back now, I know what it was now, but back then I didn't care. Oh, I killed this alien. Like you just kept playing the game. You up, down, left, right, BA, start, and you kept another fucking 30 men. You played that motherfucker all day until you beat that thing like 3 times. But like we didn't care. So like this generation, I think we're just spoiled. We try to find something to nitpick, and like I get it. If it's a issue, if it's like a serious issue where the game is like completely broken, completely fucked up, yeah, speak your mind. But like, you're complaining about a frame drop on a blade of grass in the corner, like under in the mountain, like you're being like a naggy little, what. So just play the games, have fun. Like this wasn't an issue years ago. We created this issue just to add another narrative to the console wars.
Yo, brother, shout out real quick to Midway 7 Monster hitting up that super chat. What is up, brother? Great to see you in the chat. He says it's not a bootleg until someone sits down in the theater. It's not a bootleg.
So true.
Oh
my God.
Until you get that silhouette sitting down or when they're walking.
Or somebody getting up to go get popcorn or go to the bathroom.
Yes. Yep. Yes. Yo, shout out to you for that one, brother. I remember having a stockpile of bootleg DVDs like that.
I remember watching 8 Mile bootleg.
Oh,
it felt more real,
Hey, you hit the movie, man. You're like, yo, man, what you got? What you got this week? Oh man,
right? Yeah. What you got for me this week?
Movie man sitting up there at a Homeland or some grocery store right up there.
Exactly, dude.
Pop up, baby. What you got? And music. Yeah, what you got, man? Too. What you got? Hey, man,
I got started on not Napster. What was it after Napster? Everybody used
LimeWire.
Yeah.
Either. Right. But it's fucked up because we all did it.
Crazy.
My computer was trash after I started using LimeWire.
Oh, for sure, dude. Oh my God,
destroyed, bro.
Trying to use Napster with AOL, with AOL internet. Oh my God.
Oh man, that was rough, dude.
I find everything on Pirate Bay.
Took like 2 days just to download anything.
Oh yeah, there was songs that you really wanted. Hell yes, bro. I was there. I had to wait. Bro. I was like, no, don't touch the computer. Do not touch the computer, because if somebody went somewhere,
don't even breathe next to it.
Yeah, that would be gone. I'd be mad as hell.
My good old Gateway.
When I was overseas, man, I got all the sites, man, like all of them, like some sites y'all probably never heard of before, like Maisie's Madhouse. Like I was getting shit like from the European torrents. I was like, oh man, they got this shit already. What? Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, I think we're
anyway,
past the.
yeah,
I think we're past the statute of limitations or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Guys, here we go. We need to
I digress. We
Yeah,
can
yeah,
move
yeah.
Move on.
That was
move
that was
on.
my son. That was my son. He was like 8 or 9 at that time, so don't worry about that. It wasn't me.
all right. Yo, check this out, guys.
Oh, man.
Next topic. It seems that A Blast from the Past is getting another sequel. Shout out to Shinobi on Twitter, who basically tweeted out that a new Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is in the works. And he added that the studio working on the game is not a household name. Let's go to K Mega on this. Now, K Mega, I got a couple questions that I'm gonna roll up and hand to you. First off, another
Like a
Knights
movie man.
Another Knights of the Old Republic, man. So I gotta ask if you are excited about this and why. And then I gotta ask you, man, do you think you know, or what's your prediction on who the developer is? And do you think it's gonna be multi-plat or not, man?
Listen. I mean, if people remember who really actually made it, it was Obsidian. So,
The second one, yeah.
yeah. And so, I mean, BioWare made the first one, but Obsidian made the second one. So to some people, that might not be a household name. I mean, the fact of it that everything that we're seeing what Microsoft is doing, with these purchases and just with these purchase wars that's going around, what there's games that these people know that they're having that they're going to be working on, or there's something that they have potential to work on. And as much as everybody, and there was something that Phil said that he said he worked with at the time before he became what he is now. He worked on Knights of the Old Republic, I believe he said. So, and he was like, that was one of those games that was, near and dear to him. So again, Obsidian made the second one. It's not as I'm saying, BioWare is doing other stuff. Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I don't really see anybody else doing it. In my opinion, but I'm absolutely stoked. I loved the first 2 games. It even got me to where I was actually thought about building a gaming PC because I knew that they had, just because it had the name, it wasn't really quite the same with the Star Wars Old Republic or whatever that's on PC. But it's a classic. It's a classic. And if Obsidian's working on it, that's exclusive, Jack. That's exclusive. Anybody else that could be working on it, yeah, that would definitely be a multi-plat. But I don't know if that game would still have the same luster as it does, as it would be, because of something like what Pred just said. I mean, there's a lot of gamers that don't know about that game except for only just what older gamers have talked about it. I mean, so I could just see it being perfectly fitted for Obsidian.
All right. Well, see, I hear you about the Obsidian possibly not being a household name, but I gotta say, this is Shinobi here, and Shinobi, in the hardcore kind of like gaming community, I don't think he would go as far as to say that about Obsidian. And we see a lot of up and coming kind of like development studios, even up and coming development studios that have caught Xbox's eye in terms of either possible acquisitions or whatnot. I think this is it's really interesting. I'm excited as well, K Mega. Like the original Knights of the Old Republic, I remember I had a bad case of bronchitis, and it was when the Knights of the Old Republic came out, and of course I picked it up, and that is the game that when I was laying there for like a week and a half with bronchitis, that was the game that was in constant rotation, constant play on my Xbox, and dude, absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved the experience. I don't know, man. I think it's interesting. It's really interesting. I don't know, yo, Dark. What do you think about this, bro? Like, do you have any predictions? Are you excited? What's going on?
Dude, I'm absolutely excited, man. I loved KOTOR back in the day, and I'm still a huge fan of that game. Um, just like one of the most um like replayable um Star Wars games out there. I mean, there's Jedi Fallen Order, there's things like that, which is a fantastic game as well. But like that one, just you can go back and you can just like the story can really still grab you to this day. Um, and I don't think, honestly, I mean, from what Shinobi was saying on Twitter, it seems like it's gonna be a team that we might have heard of, but we never really have like really seen very much. It's almost kind of like Housemark is doing with Returnal. I feel like that's kind of the studio that would probably be doing this game. I don't think Obsidian would be doing it. I mean, if they did, it would be awesome. Yeah. Um, but I don't think it's Obsidian who's taking on the reins for this game. I think it'll be somebody who we haven't either seen, or we've kind of heard about them, but we haven't really seen like very much from that studio. Um, so I'm excited, dude. I think if you're a fan of Star Wars in general, like you should definitely play KOTOR 2, maybe even the old one, which is the MMORPG on PC. If you enjoy playing on PC. And that game you can actually it's not I mean, nowadays it's kind of like it's that turn-based game, so I mean it's definitely something that not everybody I don't think will be into, but I mean if you enjoy like JRPGs and things like that, you'll definitely enjoy KOTOR. So I think, you know, bringing it back. If they do bring it back, maybe they might bring it back with a little bit more of an action-oriented type of game. I mean, don't get me wrong, KOTOR is action-oriented, but it's definitely that old school turn-based, type of gameplay. So maybe they'll come back, and maybe this one will be um, more like kind of like Dragon Age, like Dragon Age or Dragon Age Inquisition, how those games kind of play. Like
Dragon Age Inquisition kind of plays
it
like
plays like
old
that turn
KOTOR.
base.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, that's the one thing that's only making me realize that this game is an older game
It
because I'm
does,
playing it right now.
but it's a lot faster though. You know what
Oh
I'm
yeah, yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not
you know,
actual turn based where you pick. Yeah, it's not
right.
that.
It's a
Yeah.
lot faster than that. So I think if they kind of did something like that, or maybe, even, um, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I'm excited though. I mean, I think, another KOTOR would be fantastic, but we'll see what they do with it.
All right, brother. Now we gotta go to let's go to Crispy on this one, man. I'm interested to hear about kind of like his history and whatnot, dude. Are you excited for a Knights of the Old Republic? Did you play either of the two previous ones? And then give me your thoughts about the developer, sir.
I played both of them. It's so far back. You want details? It's not going to happen. I've drank too many beers in my life. I'm sorry. But, the one thing I'll say is that, Shinobi's tweet, I mean, he's pretty on point for the most part. I mean, he gives us little tidbits and, we listen. For him to tweet it out means that at least the Xbox community is like, oh, wait, why is he tweeting it out? I will say this, not a household name. So me personally, Obsidian's definitely a household name. Throughout the years, they have brought out games that are beloved and people enjoy the hell out of them. There's only one studio that I really could see kind of, getting that funding and really making it their own game, and that's Compulsion. And Compulsion's been working on a unnamed AAA title for a while now since We Happy Few. So I feel like when you get the money and the backing and they've added like numerous upon numerous of people to their staff and everything else, I feel like they're trying to make something that either like one like head or like many people want to really try to do. And I mean, it sounds
Well,
far fetched, but
what
if you're gonna go,
what makes you think it's going to be an Xbox exclusive game though?
I didn't say it was going to be Xbox exclusive. You don't know what Xbox is doing.
Yeah, but if it's Compulsion, then it's probably an exclusive. You know what I'm
But
saying?
we keep saying that about Bethesda right now. So let's not.
Yeah, but let's not
throw that
compare the two
curve.
because those two are completely different. Compulsion is not a top tier studio like Bethesda.
Yeah,
like,
but
it's completely different.
EA, besides when Respawn took over, was a top tier studio, and they screwed up many Star Wars games. So I'll
True,
tell you
yeah.
right now, I do not look at that and say this is going to make a great game because it's a great studio. That doesn't make sense. Okay, so my point is that maybe because We Happy Few came out a decent time ago, they might have something up their sleeve. And what better AAA to bring back that? Because Obsidian, I would love them to do that, but at the same time, they already have enough stuff going on. And there's another topic that I don't know if we're gonna get to, but who better to do that compared to Kotar? You know what I mean? So it's one of those things that you go and say like, what's really their wheelhouse, and you really don't know what certain studios are capable of when they actually have funding behind them. And I feel like a studio like Compulsion would try to do something really amazing and really do some fan service for some people. That's my point.
Okay. All right. Dark, you got anything to say about that, bro?
I just think that those two studios that you guys have been naming is like it sounds like you want it to be an Xbox exclusive, but
Well, I'm going
I'm
off
just-
of Shinobi's tweet, bro. Like Shinobi.
yeah,
usually
but
doesn't
he
tweet
didn't
about
say
anything else but Xbox.
he didn't
He
basically
usually
say
doesn't tweet about anything else but Xbox. It's few and far between that he tweets about anything else but Xbox. I'm just telling you.
well, I mean, yeah, but I mean the guy is pretty spot on when it comes to other things too. So like I just don't see it being like a completely I don't know. I think it's gonna be like a multi-plat type of game. I don't think it's gonna be, catered to just, one platform, to be honest.
Well,
But I could be
and then
wrong.
we can go into the argument that PlayStation rebranded to PS Studios because they're going to do the same thing eventually, and they're going to start just releasing on everything because it
I
makes them
mean,
money.
could. I mean, would it bother me? No.
Xbox Game Studios. I mean, that's what it is now. Like,
Yeah.
they basically like months after they rebranded the entire company on PlayStation to PlayStation Studios, and that's what they did. Like, I'm just saying, like, I think we're seeing like a point in time where, like, yes, the writing's on the wall in some way, shape, or form, but there's too much money left on the table to just say, hey, we're not going to do this. And compared to people purchasing 4 million, freaking games compared to 10 million. That's a lot of money that they're leaving on the table, and I feel both companies are kind of on that route at this point. Like they're just like, you know what, like, why are we like playing this fight game? Or at the least, you're going to see a lot more of their new games from PlayStation on PC. That's the way I feel. And then they're going to use
I
PS
can
Now.
see that. Yeah.
They're going to use PS Now and PS Plus. I mean, look at Destruction All Stars. I was kind of talking trash, but I mean that's a pretty much a new game that's going to be free to play on PlayStation Plus, and it's like
Pretty much, yeah.
it's like and this is where I hate the narratives because like at the end of the day, you're gonna say, well, what is that? PlayStation Plus filler? Like you're just giving it away after it came out a couple months ago? Like, what are you doing? Like, Game Pass is providing revenue. That's why I think PlayStation needs to kind of like figure out what they're doing because right now I feel like they're giving more games on their Plus service than they are trying to like tout PS Now, and it's like you're making your normal revenue off of the PS Plus service. You're not making the extra money that you'd make off of Game Pass like Xbox does. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little like it's like why are we titting for tatting? Let's just play the games. That's the way I look at it.
Honestly, I think they're just gearing people up for something like Game Pass. Well, I mean, turning PS Now into that type of service.
I don't disagree with you at all. I really don't.
All right. Well, guys, on that note, we're gonna get into Xbox Live real quick, and I do apologize that I might have sounded a little distracted. I'm having issues with my bank card, and that's not good. That's really
Why
not
don't you
good.
pick your bank card and let me go because you skipped me.
What happened? Okay. Yeah, well, it's going to take a lot more to do that. It seems that my bank decided that they were going to, I don't know, switch expiration dates on the old card that I used to have, and now my new one doesn't work. It's kind of crazy. But go ahead, Pred. What do you got for us, bro?
I'll make this quick. I was kind of just looking through like the tea leaves over here, and like, apparently the guy that made KOTOR, the original, has his own studio called Archetype Entertainment right now, and
Ooh.
so a lot of people are starting to think that it's going to be them. I've never even heard of this studio; it's brand new, so um, keep that in your back pocket for later, and maybe that'll make some sense because I think
What's the name of the studio again?
Arch Archetype Entertainment. It's here in Texas and Austin. So the
Huh.
guys that worked on the original KOTOR, and I think the second one as well, are they headed up their own studio here in Austin, and a lot of people are thinking it's going to be those guys that are making the game. So we hear that going around, is it going to be somebody we've never heard of or somebody different and new? There you go. And I've seen enough of it in Twitter just now, just reading through it real quick, that it makes kind of sense to me. Now I'm looking
That's a
at them.
perfect. I'm reading this right here now. It says our goal is to create the greatest story-driven role-playing games in the world. Wow.
I mean, that would make sense, right? For them to
It
take
could
over.
be somebody that knows something about the franchise, plus somebody that has some experience with it. So there you go. So I mean, and they just formed up a studio. It looks like about a year ago. They were probably doing some stuff behind the scenes before, but somebody had to fund them for them to build an office space and get them to make AAA games. So they got some backing from somebody. So there you go. But I'm not going to speculate on anybody else doing it if it's not going to be EA or anybody under the EA umbrella. I mean, it seems like Star Wars is getting spread around to everybody right now. If you want to make a Star Wars game, just name your price basically, and you can make one. So especially once they get rid of this, when is that contract end for
It
EA?
already well, it's about to.
2023.
Yeah, so these games won't be out till probably around that time, so they got to start somewhere. So, um, so I think the next Jedi Fallen Order will, and then they'll still make Jedi. I mean, it was a great game, so I mean, I'm sure they'll still keep Fallen Order under their belt, but anything else in the Star Wars universe is going to be spread out amongst everybody else. So, whether it's a spinoff or just some made up, um, part of the franchise. I think you'll see a lot of Star Wars stuff getting thrown out there because it's a popular franchise. Why keep it to just one company when you can spread it out to like 10? So
Yo,
um,
Pred, thank you so much. I finally I figured out my issue. Oh my goodness, you are the man, brother. Oh, my
and
heart
that is how you buy
my heart
time.
was in my throat. Now I can go fully in on the next on the next topic. Guys, yo, thank you so much for your patience. But brother, thank you. Thank you. Oh,
The parent company of Archetype Archetype or Archetype Entertainment is So Stonk. Um, it's I guess they do esports, and they've raised an undisclosed amount of funding from Inflection Point Ventures. It's IP Ventures, and so I mean, yeah, so they got backing. So yeah, it could definitely be a multiplat. So
yeah,
um,
and to get kind of like the original creator and his new studio behind it, like
and another BioWare person who's made Mass Effect is joined too. I just read. So
well, here's the thing. I wouldn't just automatically think multi-plat either because it's a brand new studio. They're gonna need funding, and who better to fund a project than Microsoft and Xbox? Yeah, let's be real. You see the money that they've been throwing around lately. When it comes to like studio acquisitions, all that good stuff. So, like, it can definitely be a multi-plat, but let's be real. We can't sign off on that yet. You know what I'm saying? No,
no,
nobody.
no, I totally agree. No. I agree. That's I mean, it just I understand what Dark is saying, but and I understand that that there was a multiplat. Um, but what I'm saying, I don't see Sony going crazy to get exclusive, exclusive rights or even year exclusive rights. You see what I'm saying? Because the only reason why I say that is because the game is so old is that it's kind of like Jade Empire. Like, yes, it has nostalgia, and the people who's played those type of games love them, but it's not the same as Mass Effect. You see what I'm saying? So the writers and everybody else who's played Mass Effect, that's one of those games that's kind of still in people's wheelhouse, even for young audiences. This is going back. We're talking about OG Xbox, PlayStation 2. There was GameCube at that era. So there's a big gap. And so I don't think that game, yes, it has the nostalgia appeal, but does it have that appeal to where a Sony or someone else would want to try to good and gravitate and get that game to come over to get those exclusive rights? Microsoft, this is definitely up in Microsoft's wheelhouse, especially what they're doing with the Western RPGs. But who's to say? You know what I'm saying? This Tencent could be a part of it. People or Amazon or Google. There's tons of people that can be interested and want to fund the game. So we'll see. We'll see. That was a good find, Pred. Great find.
Nice, guys. And on that note, it is time. We got to get to this. It seems that this week, and this actually started last week on Thursday, where we started getting hints. There was a picture of an Xbox Live card that you would purchase from a store. And I believe it was 6 months for $60 or whatnot. And people are like, yo, Xbox, they're trying to double the price of Xbox Live Gold. And of course, we were live on the show. We were like, none of that's been confirmed. We're not really going to get into that, like, because it's merely speculation. Even somebody on the panel tried to say that possibly that card was photoshopped. And I'm like, I don't know, man. If that's a Photoshop, that would be a professional job right there. But come to find out, it's true. It's true. They really they took away the year, and they doubled up on the 6 month. And shout out to the gaming community when it came to all this, because once it really came out that was a certified deal, that was something that they were putting into place, basically doubling Xbox Live Gold membership prices. The community came out in droves, and they came out and they got in Xbox's ear, they got in Phil Spencer's ear, whoever they can get a hold of, and they're like, yo, this ain't right. This is not going down the way you think it is. We're not gonna pay that. We're not just gonna instantly, start paying double the price for Xbox Live Gold. And of course, people were saying a whole bunch of theories. Well, yeah, they're trying to push people into Ultimate Game Pass, and that's what they're doing with that, or into Game Pass as well. And Xbox reversed their decision. They were like, we tried to, please our customers, and today we missed the mark, and so we're basically canceling our price increase for Xbox Live Gold. And a lot of people are out there championing that whole thing. Me, not so much. Let's go to Crispy on this one. Crispy, are you happy I picked you first when it came to this topic?
Sure. Why not?
All right, why not? So, in a point this week, we saw how much revenue Microsoft and Xbox were getting, at least like the past 3 months, in terms of subscriptions and sales in general, all that good stuff. When we saw how much revenue they were making, so I gotta ask you, do the people over at Xbox and Microsoft, do they have some balls, man? Like trying to double the price of Xbox Live Gold while they are raking in revenue. I believe they, I think it was within the last 3 months, they made enough money with Xbox in terms of subscriptions and other things that they could have done the Bethesda deal like 3 times over. Or the ZeniMax deal, I believe they were talking about. Dude, did they have some balls trying this, man?
Not only some balls, somebody in the boardroom was not looking at social media or how many people enjoy Xbox, and also how many people that may have Ultimate but will not tolerate this because it completely banishes people to get into the ecosystem to begin with. It is ironic the fact that they did it within almost 12 hours. They reversed it. It's asinine. Whoever had this thought was just stupid. It's either that or it was a complete and total publicity stunt, because all of a sudden they give you the free to play games are coming out, for free for once, actually free. People, think about that. So the point I try to make is this community came together and said, oh, hell no. And regardless if you had Ultimate Game Pass like myself and probably everybody on this panel, you still said, oh, hell no, this is not right. This is doubling the price. This is not like Netflix, dropping $1 on you, for the subscription, a year after you subscribe. Like, this is like, let's just double the price. I mean, are you kidding me? That's just asinine. Like, I feel like there was a contingency, and it was probably like Phil or somebody that, was in Phil's ear that was like, hey, we need to make sure that these people know that they're wrong if this comes to what they want. Because you have to realize when you're sitting on a board, regardless of where you sit, it doesn't matter what the other people think. You got the people that are doing the offices and the words and the surfaces and everything else. And they're like, oh, this is a good idea. And then Satya decides to say, hey, that's not a bad idea. And then Phil's sitting there like, no, this is not a good idea. And within a 12-hour span, you change your entire thing, and you give us what a lot of us have been asking, like, you should be able to play Fortnite without a live subscription. We're going to get that now. So maybe that was them saying, hey, we screwed up. Here you go. You know what I mean? Here's the handout that you've been waiting for. Now, why couldn't you do that to begin with? I don't know. But it's a little annoying that they had to double back on themselves. It's like playing Uno, and it's like the reverse card. Okay, stop playing the reverse card. All right? Whoever decided that opinion needs to shut the hell up when it comes to gaming from now on.
Well, you say whoever decided that whole thing to go forward, but there had to be a group of people there. I've heard people say, one guy in a boardroom with a calculator and this and that, but that had to be signed off by multiple people for it to come to fruition. Let's be real. It wasn't one person.
For it to be turned around this quickly. There had to have been a contingency plan, and it was probably brought up by somebody like Phil, okay? Because you're sitting in a boardroom and you have a bunch of paper pushers. That's the way he's probably looking at it, and he's a gamer, and he's like, these gamers are not going to like this. That's the way I look at it, and he says, okay, I will agree to this. But here's our contingency when everything falls apart. When Twitter blows up into no and be like, hey, we're going to give free to play because they make a lot of revenue off this, technically. You know what I mean? Like, Fortnite, you having to, be an Xbox Live Gold member, you make a lot of revenue.
Fortnite
this
has
is not
fueled
something that
a
would
lot
be
of
brought out
subscriptions.
within 12. This is not something that you just think about within a 12-hour period. I that's why I feel like it was like a Phil or even maybe somebody else on his side that said, hey, like, this might not be a good idea. But it's a money thing. Like, it's either a money thing or they did it on purpose, which, I mean, I feel like with the card out there, and I've seen multiple people, like, there's still like cards that are still hanging out on some shelves somewhere of the double the price, 6 months for 60. It's a little baffling that they would put those out there, but not, go through with it. So I feel like somebody that's sitting on the board, like a Phil Spencer, said, you got to think about this. And you know what? I'm not going to fight everybody, the 10 people that are sitting at the board. I'm not going to fight you guys, but can we have a contingency plan? Because this is my product. You know what I mean? Because I guarantee some people had big ideas. I mean, you see how much revenue they make off subscriptions with businesses and everything else, like Office and stuff like that. Like, they make huge money off of that stuff. But that's the way they're thinking. They're not thinking about the people that actually purchase the product and play the game sometimes. Sometimes it's out of like necessity. Hey, Office is the most secure thing we can use. Let's use it. Hey, Windows is the most secure thing we can use. Let's use it. And Xbox is like, we have another option. You have PlayStation, you have Nintendo. This is gaming. This is not the same thing. And I feel like some asshat had a big idea and like 6-7 other people said, yeah, that's a good idea. And then Satya has to sit there and listen to 6-7 people give their opinions on that while Phil's just sitting there tapping his pen or something like, what are you guys thinking? Like, can I give mine? And then he gives his. And then, Satya's like, but these people said this. And it's like, we can make more money. And then Phil's like, okay, well, you know what? You want to go with this? Because I don't feel Phil's like a huge on fighter. Like, I'm going to fight everybody in the boardroom. He's going to be like, okay, you want to go with this? We need a contingency plan then. Because I telling you right now, they're gonna blow up social media, and that's gonna spread throughout it, because social media is huge now. It's gonna spread throughout the entire gaming community, and then those PlayStation people that are thinking about purchasing an Xbox are going to be off put by this.
Yo, Crispy. Now, I love kind of like your story, the picture you painted in the boardroom and all that good stuff. But let's be real here. That is, it's a lot of conjecture. Like that, when it comes down to it, Phil like tapping at his pen, waiting to get involved or whatnot. But here's a question for you, Crispy. If that is the case. And this group of 6 or 7 can outvoice Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, isn't it a little scary that the people at Microsoft that aren't named Phil, they're possibly that out of touch with the gaming community to the point where they can say something to this whole thing, and the gamer in the group doesn't have a bigger voice for it? If what you're saying actually did happen that way, do you see what I'm saying? Like, isn't it a little scary to see that there are people out there in power that could talk over Phil that are completely out of tune with the gaming community?
Well, I mean, you have to think of it this way. So somebody that I don't know the person's name, but somebody that runs the Windows platform, for example, you're talking billions of people that use that, by the way. As far as Satya is concerned, that's like a huge part of their revenue. He's going to listen to what that person has to say, even though that person may not have picked up a game their entire life. And you got to think about, where Phil's at. Phil's probably one of the younger people sitting at the board at this point. Satya is a little bit older than him, but not much. But he's sitting there trying to be objective, and then you have somebody that is a huge part of your revenue. Like, how can we make more money? This is the corporation type BS. And
you said
and I
someone,
agree with
but you also said like 6, 7 people signing off with them. So it's really not just someone.
Because if you have the big dog that's not Satya. If you have the big dog in the room saying one thing, people kiss ass. Do you know that? That's the way it works. Okay. So they kiss ass, and then you got somebody like Phil. I'm telling you right now, I cannot believe that they turned it around that quickly. Before the weekend was over, I could not play. I thought it was going to go through another week, and we were going to have a bunch of shit, and then people were going to wake the hell up in that corporation, because it is a corporation. Let's not deny that. They have stockholders, they have people that buy, whatever they want to buy from them, and on multiple platforms. I mean, the Surface has been blowing up lately. Like, it's somebody that has a little bit more revenue and is sitting there in front of the CEO, and he has a little more clout than anybody else, because everybody thinks like Xbox is.
Because not everybody is a gamer. They could have like their clout for their Windows operating system or whatnot.
What I'm telling you from my corporate experience, because I work with people. I'm in a corporation. That's what I work with. They don't care. You have to understand. They don't care. And the problem is that Xbox, in the Microsoft scope, is a small brand compared to what they have. And that's the problem. Like, yes, it looks like billions. Like, yes, you go and look at the revenue that they made. It's peanuts compared to what, all these other services that Microsoft provides in the ecosystem that they've created. And the thing is you have these board members that run certain parts, some of the bigger revenue. Yes, Phil's there. That doesn't mean that he's not going to have a bunch of people that never picked up a game in his life, talking ish or trying to make a game become this big revenue. It takes time, and that's what Phil knows. It takes time to gain the trust of the gamers after 2013. It takes time to get them into your ecosystem and understand that we're going to have some big games. But it's going to take time to develop those games, and he knows that. because he was a first party developer lead for a long time.
Yo,
Like,
Crispy, real quick. I just want to throw something in here on this because, you know, again, you have painted a great picture. I wanna paint a picture for you. Something I think, my opinion on this. If we were at a point where Xbox first party was releasing 4 first party games a year, and it was a big draw, all that good stuff. How come I feel there wouldn't have been a reversal at that point in time? Like at this point in time, you know, people are waiting for the first party to come out. You know, there's still a microscope over Xbox and that division of Microsoft. But I feel like if all their gears were turning and the oil was pumping and they were like putting out their first party titles and stuff, since you know, you painted an awesome picture, I want to paint a picture as well. They wouldn't have turned it around. They wouldn't have done a 180 because they would have been sitting on that cushion of, look at all we are giving the gamers and the consumers right now with Game Pass. Like, this is a no-brainer.
well, you know, that goes back and says, like, how many subscribers do you have? You have this overshadowing of because that's where they're going. That's where they're going. Like I said, like, there's 1 billion people that use Windows platform. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're thinking of. Billions, okay?
Well, Windows comes with every like pre-made computer as well. Like,
But they throw little things like, hey, you want to use Excel, you want to use this, that, then you subscribe to the whole platform. Like they use that as a base platform. And the thing about, you know, Game Pass is that they, you know, you have to buy in. And, you know, to have 18 million, you know, as what I've seen, you know, just yesterday, great. I mean, but for Microsoft, they're like, that's chump change. What you talking about? We want 200 million, like Netflix. That's what we want.
oh yeah, definitely. Yo, real quick, I gotta shout out Sir X-Man because unfortunately I missed his super chat when we were talking about Knights of the Old Republic, but we cannot ignore Sir X-Man. So he said all the KOTORs are on Xbox and PC. Let them stay. Yo, shout out to you, brother. Thank you so much for the support, man. I really, really do appreciate it. Let's get somebody else in on this.
Yes.
I don't know who wants to go next out of Dark Pred and K Mega. Who wants to tackle this next? Because another thing I want to ask you guys as well when it comes to this is, do you think the community is being too light on Xbox, Microsoft, and the people running this whole thing? They're being
I'll
too.
fucking go.
Oh, okay, Pred. Are they being too light on these people for trying this at a point in time where we saw the revenue? They're making money, and they just wanted to double it, brother.
Actually, let me go back first. What was your original question on this topic? And I'll tackle both of them at the same time.
Did Xbox really have a set of cojones
Okay.
for trying to double up here?
I just think it came out of left field. It wasn't needed. And it's not, you know, and the other part of your question, I'll tackle that too. Like, this is not what we asked for, right? It goes back to them listening to consumers. Like, how many times have you seen tweets and messages and, you know, discussions on social media about, you know, making Xbox Live free, breaking down the paywall, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we asked for that. And see, I got backlash on my Twitter for posting this out here after it happened. I was like, don't forget, they attempted this, even though they, like, everyone's praising them for pulling back. I'm like, well, had we not fought, then
Yo, I gotta say real quick, shout out to you, brother, because I even retweeted it and I was like, this is one of the reasons why I love talking games and gaming news with this man. Like he does not try to sweeten the pot. He says it exactly how it is, exactly how he feels, man. And I got to give you a lot of respect, brother, for that, man.
Because no one was talking about the fact that they tried, like, and had it gone through, had everyone said, okay, thanks, we'd have been stuck with paying, I say we, some people would have been stuck with paying double the price for Xbox Live, and, shout out to the community for stepping up and, and voicing their opinion on it. And, and I don't know who made the decision. I don't know if it was a Phil thing. I don't know if it was a Satya thing or an investor thing, because sometimes these things get pushed by people not in control of gaming, right? And I know there's a conspiracy theory. They just want to see what they can get away with it. No, bullshit. They were going to actually do it. They would not have put out a press release or did put that out there and formulated it the way they did.
Dude, they had the cards printed up and everything. Those shits aren't cheap, man.
They already spent money to do this. It was a done deal. So for them to come back and say, hey, and again, I praise them for looking at what we said as a community, and even the PlayStation community is like, what the fuck, like, and for Microsoft to come out and say, okay, yeah, we fucked up, let's fix this, but I won't forget that it was attempted, and I'll never forget that. I won't give them any credit for trying to do this. And people want to praise them for pulling it back. Bullshit. Like, some people could be easily stuck with paying double what they were paying before. And if you look back, a year or two ago, when Fortnite was really popular and like people started talking about this paywall thing, like, well, it's free to play, but you got to pay on Xbox to get an online subscription to play this game as free to play. And they're absolutely right, because you don't have to pay on PlayStation, you don't have to play on PC, and it was something that was so simple that should have been done years ago when we asked for it. Don't sit here and act like Microsoft listened to us. They didn't, because if they were listening to us, they would have listened to us then.
I think, hold on, the free to play thing, I think it was planned anyway that they were going to do it, but I feel like they had to pull that card out to sweeten the pot when they like did an about face and like they're like,
I don't think so, because if that was the case, it would have been mentioned with this. It was mentioned after it. They didn't discuss it when they put this price out here, the new price out there. They discussed it after they pulled back the price. So like, if they were going to sweeten the deal, they should have sweetened it then. When they made the announcement in the first place. Because that was never discussed. It wasn't discussed until they said, "Oh, we're gonna fix it now. Now you can play these games free to play. They're actually free to play." My only argument with the whole free to play thing is like, who the fuck has a PlayStation or an Xbox that isn't playing the online game? Like, everyone's playing. No one buys an Xbox just for Fortnite or a PlayStation just for Fortnite. Like, you're playing Call of Duty, which you have to play online multiplayer. You have to pay for that. You're playing Division.
Well, Call of Duty, the Warzone
part is free to play. But the other part of it is not, and that was prior to Warzone becoming a thing. Even if you got PUBG, it wasn't free to play. Like, you had to buy the game, you had to have online services to play it. So like, it's just another way to gouge money out of people. Microsoft has made a gazillion amount of money just with Xbox Live, and that's why Sony said, maybe we should start charging for this shit too. And I don't know when that happened, maybe like 2011, 2012-ish, maybe, give or take, where they started charging for PSN. Like, I mean, you see how much money is being spent on it. It's basically, you're buying a game every year. That's that one game everybody talks about. That's what you're buying every year just by subscribing to Xbox Live or PlayStation Network. You're buying a game.
Yo, somebody in the chat said you are really low, bro, volume-wise.
I'm sorry, is this better? Yeah, I mean, we go through this with my mic like every other week, man. So sorry, but and I can adjust my gain here, and I might sound a little too loud if I do it too much. Is that better?
That's better. Yeah, just stay.
You guys,
stay
y'all
that
are fine with
distance.
that, I guess. But and I talk low normally anyway. So but I mean, they tried it, and that's what you can't forget. That this and think going forward. Now that they've tried this, I think they're going to try and recoup that revenue that they had, mentally thought they're going to get by doubling this at some point. They're going to try to get that back somewhere. Like all these, and I'll take the other stance of this too, where people were actually on the the foresight of this happening, right? These studio acquisitions aren't cheap, so like they have to get that money back some way. And now looking at their financials, it looks like they're fine, So like they came out the other day, they're making hand over fist money right now as a company, but you're buying all these studios, you're trying to buy all these studios, you're trying to make all these games. That stuff that it has to come from somewhere. So the easiest way to recoup money is by selling you something that they really don't have to do too much work on. It doesn't cost a lot, for them to use services and you know I guess cloud infrastructure that they're using for everything else in the world right now. You're just paying into it now. And they've made their money. Trust me. We've been paying. Some of us have been paying for Xbox Live for 10 years. I'm one of them. So they're more than made their money off of me and several people here in the chat and on the panel. Like we pay for this shit. So so they're fine as far as money goes. Just I thought it was a snake move for them to kind of double it like that. Like considering that we've been asking for them to either drop the price or even make a family plan where
Dude, I was out there championing that they were going to make Xbox Live Gold free because Game Pass was such an awesome value.
Like 3 months ago during E3, we were talking about that too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're going to make it. No, they didn't listen to us. And again, had they listened to us, they'd have made it free and or at least at the bare minimum drop the paywall, years ago. Like, so, I mean, they're going to make their money. They're going to figure out some way to make that money back. And if they start charging us for, games like what, $70 a game, then there's your reason why. I mean, they got to get that money back somewhere.
Oh, dude, I see what you did there because a lot of people in their arguments, the console war arguments out there on Twitter is, well, yeah, they were going to double Xbox Live Gold, but look at PlayStation. They're charging $10 extra for their games.
Well, I mean, like I said, they got to make that money back somewhere. So if they're not going to charge you double, and plus you're getting Game Pass, you're buying Game Pass, you're getting free games basically in Game Pass. And I know when we talked about this before, I said, at some point those little subscriptions that we all paid for. Remember when we did a timeline about the games coming out? And I said, and I asked the question, I said, remember when we all bought into Game Pass and we switched over? When does that shit end? Right around the time all their games start coming out. So they're going to get their money some way, shape, fashion, form. They've thought about this in levels that nobody on this panel has thought about yet in deep
except for
corners
you.
of the world.
Except for you.
Not even me. Because I look at everything, but like even I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with that one. But they're going to get that money back at some point in time. And if they're probably on the drawing board now, well, let's see. We estimated to make $4 billion this way. Now that we decided not to do this double price thing, how are we going to make this money back? So you might see an increase in Game Pass. They might increase it like $2. They might start selling games for $70. They might actually make some games multi-plat that they weren't planning on making multi-plat to get money from players. So you got to think about that. They'll get their money back somewhere. I mean, that's the easiest way to do it. Just sell the PlayStation for $70 when we get it free on Game Pass on this side. So.
Damn, Pred, you gave me so much to think about. Yo, chat, I hope he did the same for you guys as well because they're making some games multi-plat that they would have normally made exclusive just to get that infusion of revenue across the board, man. That is slickness right there. I didn't even think about that. You know what? Let's get to him. I know he's probably just sitting here. He's sitting there calm. He's just waiting to go in and to go in hard. So, K-Mega, brother, what do you think, man? Did Xbox grow a huge pair of cojones when deciding that they were going to try to double the price of Xbox Live Gold? And then what do you think about the 180, bro?
Oh man, you made me pause Inquisition, man. Okay, all right. So Pred kind of alluded to a lot of the things that I was thinking. The one thing about the games going over to other platforms, that's a genius because I didn't think about that one. But it was crazy because I remember posting something about it when I first seen it, saying that wasn't a good look. And then already there was people like, oh, you was trying to be one of those defenders. Me saying that Xbox, this is not a good look, is not defending anything from Xbox, for one. Two, it was crazy because if you guys missed it, GRG Friday last week, I had Cognito on, had Clowns on, had Steel Rain, and my boy Clay, or aka Hollywood. We were talking about it, and then when the change happened right where we were doing the show, and because we were talking about it, was like one of our last topics for the night, and we started talking about it, and then I forgot who brought it up. I think it was Cognito that brought it up and said, "Oh, look what happened," and then everything happened, and you were joyous because of the fact that they listened to us. They listened to the gamers. Now, the one thing that I will say, because I feel that Crispy made some valid points. I thought that his whole positioning of how it all looked was way out there. But because listen, Phil is at the table. Phil knew exactly what was happening. That's just the reality. This is a business. This is a corporation. You know what I'm saying? This is this is the one thing. Okay, the guy that they picked up from Netflix, the guy that used to previously be with Xbox, and then he came back from Netflix. If you've noticed, when Netflix did those price hikes, they didn't give any warnings. They didn't do anything like that. So this was kind of like the same thing that they were going to do with Xbox Live. Not give you any warnings or anything like that. They were just going to throw it in your face and then go from there. And yeah, you would have lost a lot of revenue. You would have lost, people that would be like, oh man, forget this. But then let's just be honest. Was you going to stop paying for Xbox Live Bot?
Well,
no, bro.
Hold on. Let me answer.
Well, they did say that it was going to be carried over, so we would pay. They did not say if there was ever going to be.
Well,
I got a great answer here, though.
I'm gonna make that point.
I got a great answer.
Yeah, but go ahead. Yes.
My answer is I subscribe to Ultimate Game Pass with Xbox Live already rolled into it. So.
Exactly right. Okay, Pred, would you have ended it?
If I only had let me get to the mic. If I only had Xbox Live, I would have had to keep it.
Right. Okay. Right.
That's anybody out there. You would have been
right. Crispy, what about you?
I have Ultimate Game Pass, so
I know, but I'm just saying, would you have ended it?
It depends. If I was a new subscriber, absolutely.
Okay, but I'm saying, right, you, Crispy, not new subscriber, you.
If I bought in at $1, yes, I would have. To be honest.
Okay, that's not Crispy. Crispy, would you have ended it? Yes or no, please?
No, because I'm already part of it.
All right. What about you, Dark?
Oh, I would have ended that shit right away.
Thank you. Now, this is the point that I'm trying to make. So, if they're looking at the numbers, and if they have this person there that's crunching the numbers there, this is exactly what they're saying. You got 5 people on the panel. 4 is going to stay. 1 is going to leave. Their odds of still keeping majority of the people on Xbox Live, they would have still been there. I would have still been there because of the one thing that Crispy's been saying, which I was going to make that point. We're grandfathered in. We're already grandfathered in, so it really doesn't matter at that point because we're paying more for Game Pass than we are for Xbox Live at this point. For the new people out there, nah, it was over. It was out. And the people like Dark would have said, nope, I'm cool with PlayStation. I'm not even thinking about getting an Xbox now. So the one thing about this that I think that changed everything was, and I know that we beat on this dead horse for a long time, was 2013. The bad press, and this is something that I said on GRG last week. I said, how the hell could Xbox really think about doing something like this? During a pandemic, there's millions of people not working right now. Then on top of that, you're gonna have Medium come out, and they're just clamoring because we all know that game is not going to be a so-called AAA banger. It's not going to get no 80s or not. It's not going to get no. What I say, it's not going to be a 90+ title. And I said it might even be somewhere in the 70s. What do you think that that's going to do to that game and to that studio trying to present this game out here when all week long and for whenever that they're going to make the change, if they don't, what will happen to them? And then I even went as far as say, if they keep this bullshit going, what do you think is going to happen to every other exclusive that comes to Xbox, especially Halo? The bad press is going to stain on, is going to keep on them, and I say it was going to even be a worse look than 2013 than the DRM bullshit. That right there, when you got people, you got a conglomerate. When I say I posted their earnings of $600 billion, how much Xbox is worth. I posted that. And then I posted the other stuff about the earnings that they've got from they could buy ZeniMax for 3 times over. How does that look when you got people that can barely pay their bills and you're going to sit there and try to raise their shit up to 120 Xboxes, all trying to be about the game and all that shit would have been dead, gone. While PlayStation, you can go buy cards for, I think, was it $30 for a year off of CD keys? Yeah, no, that would have hurt them tremendously. So I think that what they did was try to test the waters. They sat at the table. They were like, look, I'm sure that there were people there were saying, I don't like this, but they're looking at the money. And if you got Xbox there's already $400 billion from being a $1 trillion company, why not try to go ahead and see if you could try to be that $1 trillion company? That way, you got way more power than and leverage at that point talking to the main man at Microsoft than you do being, underneath. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's all about the money. It's all about the profit, and they should be held accountable for that. No, I am not saying I am happy that they listened to us. They spoke because the gamers spoke out, and I'm proud of the community for going after their ass for that. But let's not forget that this is exactly what they were intending to do. But they had I can't say that word, so let me not try to. Let me be country. They had a backup plan. They had a backup plan, and the backup plan was like, if this shit goes bad, we're out of here. We're out. We're going to back out of this and change this because we're not going to have another 2013. Not everything, because if you really think about it, guys, Xbox haven't had really any bad press except for if you think about the whole Halo thing. The last time that they had some really, really bad press was in 2019. Just think about that. Everything they've been doing has been really, really going in the right direction. And then right here, you hit them with that.
How come
that would have been ridiculous. It would have been ridiculous.
Yo, K-Mega, how come it seems like whenever Xbox starts to get on a roll, they start doing positive things.
Right. I said that Friday.
Why do they shoot themselves in the foot constantly, dude?
It's kind of what everybody's going to say on this panel tonight. There are people that aren't gamers. They just think about the bottom line. They're not here to think about your special interest or about anything. What'd you say?
Businessmen.
Yeah, they're just businessmen. And this is just how business works. And that's why I say, like, listen, I'm a supporter of Xbox and will continue to be, but you got to hold these companies to the fire. That's why I laugh at these Sony stands that sit here and constantly get berated, try to berate somebody, and they constantly just get lied to, just like they say Xbox fans are getting lied to. So so that's the thing, is like, you can't just be all in with a company, with any of these corporations. You respect some of the people out there, especially if you meet them and you see what they do. But they're a corporation at the end of the day. Like, I mean, they're here to make money, and that's one thing that what Pred said was absolutely right. They're going to find a way to make that money back some kind of way. If that means raising up the price to Game Pass, that's just what they're going to do. I think a lot of people will be much more accepting with that, especially when the bigger budget titles come.
We already think it's going to happen, yo.
I already know it's going to happen. It's not even. It's a done deal. This is a done deal. This is what they should have done. They should have gave Munson. They should have said, "Hey, look, guys, this is what we're going to do. We're going to raise the price to Game Pass. We have a lot of big titles here. The fact of it is that gaming is it's very expensive to make. Games, we're paying actors now. We're paying like we're doing these captures. We're doing everything. You want these games to be on the level of movies, and now we got budgets that's on movies, or even more than most movies that comes out on television. You want big budget games. It's going to cost a little bit more. We apologize for that, but this is what we're going to do. So we're going to just charge a little bit extra on Game Pass. And then if they just took away the other stuff for gold, I think it would have been an easier transition, because the one thing they could lean on is that, well, we're not paying $10 extra for games. And if you really go back and think about it too, ladies and gentlemen, is this as well. We are paying more for damn games. We just with DLCs and with microtransactions and everything else, we are paying more. Yeah, I bought Valhalla for $60. But I guarantee you, when I start playing that game, I'm like, man, I want that DLC. And I'm gonna be paying more. So what Sony is doing, I don't like it either. But they're going to make this money some kind of way. I don't want to hear. I hear my boy Fonzarelli say this all the time. Well, these corporations make so much money by doing this, by doing that, and they don't need to be doing this, bro. That's just not how business works.
They make more money.
Yeah, that's how they make more money. That's how they become the conglomerates that they are. You know what I'm saying? That's why they control the things that they can control and do what they can do and access the things that they can. See, the problem is that Sony is looking at Sony is worth what, 45 billion? You know what I'm saying? How much is Microsoft worth? Over $1 trillion? Xbox at that position is listen, Xbox overtook Windows back in 2018. I sit there and I posted that on Twitter. Go back to 2018 and look at that graph. They took over Windows. That's why they kind of like reversed, and now they're more interested in the video game, because video games it's making tons of money now, making crazy amount of money. But I'm gonna let my boy Dark get to it. But I just say, hold them accountable when it needs to be, and this right here was for them to be held accountable. But let's not make the mistake and not say that, well, they changed off because we were just really loud or whatever. They changed. They already had this planned out. They wanted to test the waters to see if gamers were going to just allow it and just have some people bitch about it, but the majority of people be saying, "Oh, we cool." But because there was so much of an abrupt, like, yo, that put everything on pause. So one way or another, they're going to try to make that money back. It's just the reality of it.
K Mega, I'm proud of you, brother. I am definitely proud of you. There's been a lot of people out there that have been championing the 180 and not thinking about the source of it, man. But it is good to see other gamers that are level-headed with some common sense that when it comes down to it, the whole initial situation to begin with should not have happened. I might not agree with you on the fact of testing the waters, and I think you're used to that, man. There's a lot of things we agree on. Right. There's a lot of things we disagree on. But
yeah. I was ecstatic when they changed it, because I posted. I was like, man, this is why I stand by Xbox. It's the fact that, you know what I'm saying, because they are willing to change. Other companies just said, we did it already. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? At least they changed it. But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be scrutinized for attempting to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's the point.
One thing real quick. When it comes to moves like this, when it comes to it's a dirty tactic. Let's be real. It's a dirty tactic. And we saw with the financials at a point in time where they were making they're definitely making decent revenue when it comes to Xbox. At that point in time, and it'd be like, you know what, we're going to double the price of gold. It's a dirty tactic. Now, real quick, before we go to Dark, Mega, when Sony does something, we hold them accountable, and we kind of, as a community, it's brought up over and over and over again. There are people that still bring up the whole hacking situation on the PS3, right? When they get into arguments over each other's favorite plastic on social media, Do you think that this should be okay, they did that and let's move on, or do you think that this should be kind of held in the same standard as a Sony fuck up, where it's kind of brought up over and over and over again? And do you think that Sony fuck up should be like brought up like that as well?
Well, this is the thing. The people, the loudest people in the room are the ones that like the slander. And it's like, people talk about one certain thing, like they'll talk bad about the Medium and about its score, but nobody brings up about Godfall, for instance. Let's say, I don't. There's some things that if Sony went back and changed their policies, like when Jim Ryan lied and said about he didn't believe in generations, and then came back and said, you know what, my bad, I do believe in generation. I don't believe in generations. What I believe in is that I believed in it at one point, but I made a mistake on it and blah blah blah. See, that's what something that Phil and them do. He'll sit there and he'll just say, look, I messed up. I messed up. Like when he got held accountable to the VR thing, he says, I know, but this is the situation here. Yeah, I get it. But you don't hear anything from the other side pretty much, except for just from their community, from the stands is them being just apologists. That's why it's like, look, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. If you know what I'm saying, for this right here, you should hold them accountable for it, and you should never let them forget about it. Like, look, we know something. Y'all gonna hit us with something, but next time let us know beforehand. Because listen, if you lose me as a customer because you went too far, hey, at least I can give you the respect of saying that you let me know beforehand. Because if you do some shit like this again, you're gonna lose me. I'm not gonna. I don't care how much I support this or how much I support that. If you try to come and swindle me like this, without giving me any type of forewarning, hey, look, this I can't support that. If Sony fans would be like that as well, then the community would be a better place, and then the transparency about what is right and wrong, other than the fuckery part of it, would would be understandable, and people would be cool with that. But until we get people to get on the same page about those type of things, instead of just going gun-ho when it's all Xbox, and then just other people that were gun-ho with the Xbox community that didn't like what Xbox did. But if the Xbox community go after Sony, and then the gun-ho PlayStation guys at one point just hold their hands up and say, man, I don't see anything, then it's always going to be that type of problem, in my opinion.
All right, brother. Now we gotta get to the angry otter himself. And Dark, I gotta ask you, where were you when Xbox tried to double the price of gold? And then where were you when they did a complete 180 and said, never mind, plus free-to-play games will actually be free? Dude, what do you think about this whole situation, man? And I know you're on Twitter, so I know you have seen some golden tweets on this whole thing, bro.
Some doozies, let's just say that.
Doozies. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I was actually, funny thing is I was actually just sitting playing games, and then all of a sudden, like, tweets started coming in, and I was like, oh fuck, what's going on? And Xbox tweeted out that they were raising the price. Well, actually we were on here when they decided to raise the price. When I was when I heard that they were gonna change it back.
Yeah, when it was like leaking out, we were here.
Yeah, we were here, but when they decided to change it back, I was sitting there playing games, and with my cousin, we were playing some Call of Duty, and we were just sitting there, and all of a sudden I was just like, oh, they reversed it. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, dude, they reversed it. And he's like, oh, okay, whatever.
Oh, okay.
It really, honestly, like it really didn't affect me. I was just like, oh, okay, they changed it. Good, kudos to them, for changing it. The thing that I got was when I started seeing people like on Twitter or seeing people on YouTube stating like I heard some people saying like, you're gonna have to get yourself a second job for this shit. And I was all like, what? Like I'm not getting a fucking second job just to pay for Xbox Live. Like what the fuck? Like, no, dude, I'm not doing that. So it was just kind of funny. Like, they were serious too. Like, I know I'm making a joke out of it, but they were serious about it being you getting a second job for this. And I'm like, what does that have to do with like anything at all? like that shouldn't even be our point to this whole
Dude, do
thing.
you think
What-
it was a
what
crazy
should-
ass idea that when they decided that they were gonna initialize doubling the price of gold?
Oh, it was a fucked up idea. I thought to myself, like, that's fucked up, but I get it because it's business. Like, that's just how it works. Like, you know, they're gonna try to make money. They're gonna try to fuck
So
you over as
that's
much
the way
as they
you feel
can.
about PlayStation and their $70 games as well, then, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like they're just gonna try to fuck you over no matter what they can. If they can fuck you over, they're gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just how business works. They fuck you over, and then you're sitting there with your dick in your hand, fucking sitting there just like, oh, okay,
What
you know?
now? What do I do now?
Yeah, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Basically. So I mean, you know, like gaming's expensive. Like and it's gonna continue to get expensive, and some of us are just gonna have to, you know, I believe that some people will probably eventually just bow out because they don't want to pay the pricing or whatever. And that's fine and dandy. I mean, you know, like no one's forcing you to continue to play games, you know, like or they'll just go on and play, you know, older stuff or whatever. I just thought to myself, like, I could not believe as how many people I was seeing like saying like, oh, this is you know, I was proud of the people that were saying, oh, this is ridiculous. I cannot believe that they would do this. And I was seeing a lot of, you know, a lot of you guys and people who were just like big Xbox, you know, people were saying like, no, this is ridiculous. Like, why are they gonna make you know, even just newcomers pay, you know, like that much? Like, even though they came out and said, well, it's not for people who are grandfathered in, it's for people who are, you know, new to the. And they were like, well, what if my friend wants to play with me? Now they can't because they're gonna have to pay $120. You know, like you know, they were kind of you know, people weren't really championing for themselves. They were really stating that, you know, this is gonna happen to people that they might want to get um into the ecosystem because, you know, they want to play games with them or whatever. So it was just kind of like I just couldn't. I was just sitting there like, oh my god, man! And then some of those people, I was like, you fucking you fucking crazy, man! If you think people are gonna pay $120, or go get a freaking or go mow some lawns or some shit. Like, I saw on Twitter, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what the hell? Like, no, man, nobody's gonna
That'd be
go
kind
out
of
there
hard
and
over here
fucking.
in New England right now, by the way.
Yeah, no one's gonna go out and fucking mow some lawns for fucking Xbox Live. Like, that's just not gonna happen. Like, I mean, if you really want it, yeah, maybe you might do it. But I personally, I don't think it was something that they were trying to scheme or whatever to try to get the free to play games. I think it was something that they were actually thinking about doing, and then they pulled the plug because they didn't want another 2013 on their fucking hands. They didn't want something like that to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's understandable. I mean, why would you want that to happen again?
Yeah,
you
you
know,
don't want
like,
another 2013, bro.
yeah, you don't want that shit. So, you know, it makes sense that they would pull back on it. But I mean, I don't honestly, I don't think they were. I don't really think they thought that people like in the community were gonna speak up as loud as they did. Because I mean, I was even one of the ones that said something. I know there was a lot of other, you know, I saw you guys say something. I know, you know, I pretty much saw everybody like on this panel say something about it, you know. So it's just like, what was Microsoft really thinking when they, or I mean Xbox when they somebody went in the board and was just like, hey, you know what? We should raise the price of Xbox Live Gold. You know, like okay, you know, like I'm sure the business guys were like, yeah, let's do it. You know, but I think Phil was kind of like, I don't think you guys really understand like what's going on here. Like, and he has
Right.
to go with it because you know he's under some he's under somebody else, so he has to kind of go with it. But I think they'll think twice before they do something like this again. Honestly, and they're gonna have to. I mean, but like everybody else on this panel has said, they're gonna make that money back somehow. They're gonna find a way. They might even raise the price of games. Who knows? We don't know. If they do, it's gonna be like, their exclusives, of course. Like, but of course, most of those games are going to game. I mean, all those games are going to go to Game Pass anyway. So, I mean, I don't know how they're going to do it. Maybe they'll raise the pricing or they'll put games like Mega said, put games on PlayStation, and have them be like $70 or whatever. I don't know. But they're definitely thinking about making that money back. Already they're already thinking about it. They're already scheming.
Yeah.
So.
You know what? And this is bringing me back to Sega real quick, because within all this, every once in a while I think about what would happen if Sega came out with another quality console. Because for people who don't know, Dreamcast is still my absolute favorite console. Absolute favorite console. All the experiences, all the peripherals, what they did with the VMU and all that good stuff. My favorite console. I wonder how many Xbox people would be like, you know what? I'm gonna go with Sega.
Oh yeah, there would. Oh dude, there would be like a shit ton. I would probably be one of them because I loved Sega back in the day.
I don't think it would go that far because, like I said, because like Crispy was saying, and like I was trying to say was, we're already grandfathered in, so we're not paying that extra because we're already paying for it. The problem is that we were standing up for the gamer who hasn't come into the ecosystem.
Rightfully so.
You can't. Right. You can't. None of us can talk about, man, Xbox is the best place to play when you trying to get a friend who may be interested in what Xbox is going to be bringing here in the future, and then they're like, they don't have Game Pass, they don't have anything like, I mean, not Game Pass, but they don't have Xbox Live or anything, and then you want to chat and game with people, and then next thing you know, trying to talk them into paying $120 for a year. That it just isn't a good look. It takes back what everything what was stated, and then that's going to push people to going somewhere else. Like, those people will definitely go to the Sega console or PlayStation or PC or Nintendo. But they, what I'm saying, what you just did with that is basically trying to tell people, I care more about the bottom line than I do for new customers. And I know better. But I know it also was one of those things where they're trying to force people to go into Game Pass instead.
Well, and let me just say this. Imagine if they just said $70 a year, okay, and up the price $10. I mean, that's still putting money in their pocket. And I don't think it would have the same type of response. You know what I mean? And it's just, that's where I go and say, like, you hired somebody from Netflix. Why in God's name did we get to this point where we're still talking about it? Because you know what? It's not right. I mean, you double the freaking price? I mean, are you kidding me? Like, no. Especially for $1 trillion company to double the price all of a sudden. Like, I was fucking pissed, dude. Sorry.
I know. I saw you on Twitter.
I was pissed. And I was like, oh, so now all of a sudden you're going to give us free to play after you screwed up. You know, that's basically what I said in my tweet. I was like, dude, why? Why did we have to get all angry about it? Why do we need this right now with the times we're in, the world that's going on, all the shit that we have to deal with? Why did you do this? And I agree with
that's what
everybody
pissed me
on
off
this
the
panel.
most. Yeah, that's
That's
what pissed
what
me
I
off the
agree
most.
with everybody on this freaking panel, dude. We should be past that. Like Microsoft, it would be better for Sony to do that because at least they don't have the revenue you do. And we can say, well, we can kind of justify it in some way, shape, or form. We can't even justify that with Xbox. And that's why us Xbox gamers, we're not happy, even though we might be in Ultimate Game Pass or whatever else. Comes down to it, you're trying to attract new people for us to play with, and you're going to sit there and do something stupid and asinine like that. I can't stand for it, and that's why I fucking stood up. And I know a lot of people, including on this panel, that stood the fuck up and said, screw that shit.
Woo! You go, Crispy. Yo, on that note, real quick, let me shout out Bounty Boom hitting up that super chat. Thank you, brother, for the support. He says, all I have to say is thank you, Xbox community, for standing up for me and my family with 5 Xboxes in our house. And to say that I wouldn't have left, just like Mega said, but you have to say thank you. Shout out to you, Bounty, and thank you for the super chat and for tuning in every week and being a part of next podcast. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, dude, shout out to the community who didn't just roll over and let this happen either. I mean, that is awesome. I feel that there are a lot of there are quite a few YouTube celebrities out there, YouTube personalities, let's say, YouTube personalities, people who have some type of presence when it comes to gaming, social media and stuff that are being really light on Xbox right now. And it is really, really refreshing to hear the next podcast, the panel, go in and really say how it is, man. Like, I thought there was going to be some drama here tonight. I thought I was going to go in too hard, and there might be some people on the panel like trying to,
You wanted another leave the podcast situation, didn't you?
I thought it might happen, bro. I thought it might happen, man.
Oh shoot!
But
Good times, right?
Yeah. The history of this show, man. Yeah. But to hear you guys' opinions and for you to hear you guys put it out there like that, I am absolutely proud of this panel and of this show. Guys, that's one thing you're gonna get from us, man. You're not gonna get just absolute pandering. If there's stuff that needs to be said, criticisms that need to be verbally expressed, you are gonna get it here on next podcast. And then when we argue, 2 people might leave the panel. You never know what's gonna happen, man. But shout out to Bounty Boom hitting up that super chat one more time, bro. He said, thank you for listening to us, your own community, and not just say nothing. Thank you, even though it's wrong at midnight is best for us to move on. Brother, I hear you, and I am down with that. It is time to move on because it is pretty much the end of the show, guys. Another one in the books. Shout out to everybody who hung out with us tonight. Thank you again so much for all the support. But you know how it goes. Like a 40-year-old with a comb over, it is time to get those plugs in. And you know what? I haven't started with this man in a while. So we're going to go with the guy who has to unravel his list of stuff to tell you guys about. Of course, we're going to my brother K Mega. K Mega, tomorrow is another GRG. I'm kind of used to having the show on Thursdays now, knowing that GRG is tomorrow and all that good stuff. You got to let people know. The last one was absolute fire. So I can't wait to hear what is coming up for tomorrow's show. And then, of course, you're doing streaming on Twitch, even dabbling in Facebook a little bit. I've noticed since I've made a small return to Facebook. And you gotta let people know what's going on with your YouTube channel, man.
Yeah, not really. Let me just be honest. I've said this for the last 2 weeks, or for the week and a half. Man, I'm going to be doing my streaming. I'm going to get back, but Dragon Age Inquisition is taking my life. I've gotten over 318 hours
He
in it
did
right
play
now.
golf with
I
us the other day.
I did.
How
I
many
did.
hours do you have in it?
318.
Jeez, dude.
And I'm almost done. If I want to just like beat the game, I'm there. But the max you can get in this game is level 27. I'm a level 25, about to be a level 26. So that just tell you how much I've been grinding. But I see why this game won Game of the Year. It is absolutely fantastic. I love the Dragon Age. I played the first two. This just goes to let people know, when you hear this crazy narrative about who plays old games, this is a testament right here. This game was in the beginning of last gen, and me playing it, I'm having all these great experiences with it, and that's what's the most important. And plus, now playing it on a new console that enhances it with auto HDR and all the other things to it, man, it's and a much better television than what I had back then. So yeah, man, these experiences, they just never die, man, especially if they're good and if they're new to you. But anyway, I promise we'll get to this. I'm almost done with this game. I'm almost at the end right now of the second DLC.
Dude, you were almost
So,
at the end last week, man. What are you talking about?
well, I was saying at the end of the game. That's what I was saying, the end of the game. And then I was like, I don't have the DLC.
Don't make excuses. Don't make
I
excuses.
don't have the DLC. And so I was like, so I bought the DLC this past weekend, and I thought it was going to be, just a little, no, them DLCs is big to the
they're
best.
huge. Yeah, they're big. Yeah,
And I
just
got finished. I got finished last night with the Ascent or Descent, and now I'm right at the end of the Jaw of Hoken or whatever the hell it is. And then after that, I'm gonna jump on, beat the game, and then there's one more called the Trespasser, and then that should be done by the end of this week.
We will see his streams in 3 months from now, people.
No, bro, you'll see the end of the stream, because I will not be playing a single player game for some months. I'm going all multiplayer for a while. Okay, but anyway, back to the scroll. Fight Night Sundays every Sunday night. GRG podcast comes on. We'll have it tomorrow night. Please come check it out. Check out last episode. Check out all the damn episodes. Go find my channel, KMega405. Go subscribe. I'm close to 3,000. Let's go ahead and get that. Let's go ahead and hit that shit. And then for my guest, we'll have Kev. Lady SF was supposed to come, but she told me today that she couldn't make it. So far we just got our brother Kev, or Glorious Kev, as he calls himself.
PC Master Race right there.
PC Master Race, yeah. And so, we'll see who all will be coming for the show tomorrow. And then got King David to be coming on here pretty soon with my boy Wilmy. So we'll be going ahead and getting it going, keep doing this new thing that I'm doing with GRG. So come check us out. Thank you.
Nice.
Oh, and Twitch. I stream on Twitch.
He does. I seen him.
K-Mega45.
I seen it.
Nice. Well, on that note, let's go to the West Coast now. My brother Otter, who unfortunately does not have a new Xbox yet, he did get his hands on a PS5 though.
Disrespectful. You're disrespectful. Now you got your little Xbox. Now you want to sit here and try to go after my boy like that? That's wrong.
I know, man. You hear this shit?
PS5 before I even
I got a PS5 before you were even out of diapers, dude.
Wow, I'm still not out of diapers, by the way. Yeah, but Dark, as always, man, some great opinions. Some great banter as well. What do you got? What do you got for these fine people checking out the show in terms of your outro, bro?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at Knoxximus. You can also find me on Xbox and PlayStation at the same name. And yeah, man, as always, it's always fun to be on this podcast. I love coming on here every Thursday and giving my opinions out and here and there. Me and Crispy go back and forth. Tonight it wasn't too much, but next week, just wait, Crispy.
Yeah. Was it in the
I got you,
DMs
bro.
that
I got you.
was it in the DMs that Crispy claimed that otters build dams?
Something like that.
I
And then I told him he's just a temp here at the next podcast.
Temp to
Something
hire or
like that,
just on contract?
Yeah, no, temp, just on contract temp,
And I said the temp's making more money than you ever have. Oh,
If you're making money on this podcast, I mean, you're probably only making like a quarter or a nickel, or something like that, So
no, it's 50 cent. It's always 50 cent.
See, don't talk about getting paid for this show because I haven't done Predator's outro yet. He'll go in on me about that. Like, where's his paycheck? But
well, where is this paycheck?
let's go to Crispy, and we all know Crispy is a part of multiple shows. So Crispy, as usual, we do it every week, man. You gotta let people know about those shows you're on, and anything else you want to announce, man. It's your outro.
Well, yes, of course. Shout out to the chat. Awesome. Love the conversations. Yes. We somehow be respectful even on the next podcast. It's pretty incredible. And yes, nobody got blocked either, I don't think. I don't think anybody got blocked. So that's pretty cool. At ChrisBomb on Twitter, ChrisBomb28, Xbox Live. Hit me up. Yes, I do play other games besides Gears, but I will teach you if you need to. Yes. And then we got Breakfast of Boom tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Retro Renegades, 7 p.m. Tuesday nights. Don't know whose channel it's going to be on because we never know half the time.
Never know.
And you just never know. And, of course, the next podcast, Thursday, 8 p.m. now.
Prime time.
Prom time.
Nice, brother. And let's go to the Lone Star State. My brother Pred, which Pred, absolutely on fire tonight, man. Some of the things you said, some of the things you got me thinking about with these topics, I never would have thought of, man, if I didn't get a chance to talk to you every week. So, shout out to you for that, man. Pred, what do you got for us for an outro? Are you gonna be anywhere this week?
Oh, I'll be home, smoking a cigar, drinking some Hennessy. Sad because my Cowboys aren't in the playoffs, and there's two teams that I don't really care too much for. And there's no football this week.
Chiefs, bro.
Yeah, I really hate the fucking Chiefs, man. They're just
hey,
so
this is not your outro. Chris, you keep telling yourself that. You might convince yourself eventually. So like next week, nothing. I gotta get some gaming and I'm behind. I haven't really played on my Xbox or even my PC that much lately. So I got some games to play. And that's it. I'll be gaming this weekend, so that's it.
Nice.
Who won the
brother.
Super Bowl last year, Brad?
Giants, of course.
Oh shit! I forgot my OnlyFans plug. Thanks, Chris Hart.
Oh,
Keep
wow.
those subs up, man.
Yeah, I forgot my OnlyFans. Yo, you have been going crazy in the chat tonight, brother. I just want to say that I've been thoroughly entertained with you, Chris, Albert, in the chat. It's absolutely phenomenal. But shout out to the chat. Shout out to you guys one more time. Yes, I do that multiple times because that's what I feel. Yeah, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here. You guys pushing for us to do our very best every Thursday. All the support, all the love. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. So I'm gonna end the show the way I do every week. We will see you guys next week for the next podcast. Have a great night, everybody.
Later. Sub the OnlyFans.
Oh, yeah.
already subbed.